I'm Kristen Group with Aesthetic Advisor TV, and I'm here with Scott Carson of the Aesthetics and Cosmetic Business Association to begin our series, Zapped, Tactics that Laser Manufacturers Use Against You and What You Can Do to Protect Yourself. Okay, Scott, I think we've got time to take an email question. This is how I know my age because I have to wear glasses. So this is from...
You can fix that with a laser. With a laser.
I know. This is from Amy H. in Pennsylvania, and she asks, what are laser consumables and how much do they cost?
A consumable is can be a number of things. It could be a tip that you put on a laser, single use, could be multiple use, or an RF device, could be an applicator end. There's a lot of different things that constitute a consumable. Could be an electrode that is a grounding pad. There's lots of different things. And this is something that's been relatively new in this industry. And it's a way for a manufacturer to have continuing revenue after the capital equipment sale. It's pretty common, the razor and razor blade theory. The difficulty that I have with it and other members of the ACBA is that in some cases these aren't really necessary. And I'll give you a great example of that. The CO2 laser has been around forever. And they've never required any consumable. Several years ago, a manufacturer came out and created a consumable for the CO2. It really wasn't required. It really wasn't needed. It was simply a way to, once the unit was sold, to have a customer keep coming back and buying consumables.
So it increases the revenue stream.
Increases the revenue stream. Really when there's no need for it. Now, I'm not suggesting that there isn't devices that require them. I'm suggesting that you take a very close look at what the costs are of these consumables during the life of the machine.
So basically, when you look at consumables, you have to add that price into the treatment price of it. So as a practitioner, I would have to look at what that consumable price is and add that into my treatment price to see if I could actually make a profit on it.
Exactly. But not only that, there's another issue too that everyone forgets that's the more critical issue. And when you're looking at a device, the market's hot. Real self is like screaming. Patients want it. They can't get it anywhere else. You're at the front end of that cycle and you're like, I've got to buy this device. And I'm going to make this much money on it because this is what the market's paying. So you lock yourself into that unit, often through a lease, 5 to 6 years, or you've borrowed from the bank over 5 or 6 years or longer, and you've got monthly payments. And you also know that you're going to pay X number per treatment for the consumable. And you're doing the ROI, and you're doing the ROI in that particular 6-month, 1 year period. What you have to remember is there's not a single device, not one, where consumables have gone down in value at the same rate that the treatment price has gone down. Or so if you look at the life of a cycle of a product and the treatment that you're able to charge, each month it gets a little bit lower until no one wants it anymore because new technology is taken over. But if you think about it, those consumable prices don't come down. So you've still got your fixed monthly payment. You've got a fixed consumable, but you're not getting any more money out of it. You're actually getting less. So ultimately, it becomes unprofitable for you down the road. And it all depending on how quickly the device has been saturated in the marketplace or nobody wants it anymore, before that starts to be a loser for you.
Well, because I know when I started in this industry a long, long time ago, what I was able to charge for a certain area of the body, let's say hair reduction, when I first started, I could charge $295 for underarms. The price has significantly dropped on what I can charge per treatment, which is interesting because my experience is now years and years and years beyond what I started with, but my prices that I can charge are much less than what they did. They've cut in half at least of all the treatments I offer. One of the other things I think about, and maybe we can touch on this, is once this device, or let's say this company now wants to get out of this business and they want to resell that, can, as a secondary market, and I think I know the answer to this based on our previous discussions, can the person in the secondary market buy these consumables from the manufacturer, or do they buy the amount of consumables and then they're stuck with, once they don't have consumables, then it makes the machine obsolete?
Chris, that is a phenomenal question. So we've already talked about what a recertification fee does in depressing the value of a unit, by equivalent or sometimes greater, but at least equivalent to what the recertification price is. When it comes to consumables, it's the kiss of death, that recertification fee. Because without it, without the recertification fee, the device is worthless. Because if you don't pay it, they can't get consumables. So any device that has consumables and has a recertification fee is effectively worthless in the secondary market unless you pay the recertification fee. So you can't even get parts value out of it effectively because there's no ability to get the consumables. This consumable issue is really kind of frightening. And I want to use an example currently in the industry that people don't quite understand. There's a body contouring device that everyone knows. It's on everybody's tip of the tongue. That's very successful right now. It's the number one body contouring system out there by far. And the price of the unit keeps going down because they're getting more and more saturated in the marketplace with capital devices. The treatment prices are coming down because people are competitive, but the card prices have stayed pretty much the same. So you're at the end of that curve, that acceptance curve, and there's going to be a point where it ends up costing you money to provide that service, and you end up stop doing it, but you still have the payment. You still, if you want to use it sparingly, have to buy the service contract because you have no other option, proprietary. So I think those devices, you really have to look careful before you buy them, because unless you can make your money back almost immediately, you're almost guaranteed to lose money very quickly because of the cost of consumables at a declining treatment price, reimbursement price.
That is some incredible information that actually some of it I didn't even know about. So that's pretty good to teach me something new. So I want to thank Scott Carson of the ACBA for giving us this information and also spending time with us. And we spent this time discussing one tactic that the laser manufacturers are using against us and what we can do to also protect ourselves. You can go to acba.expert for more information. And thanks so much for watching.